Tonight, I'm joined by musician and comedian Geoff Garlock. Next to him is frontman of Skid Row, who just released a new album called Kicking and Screaming, which has the best cover of all albums ever. It's Sebastian Bach. And rounding out our sausage party, we have comedian Sherrod Small.
Yeah!
This is happening! This is actually happening! First up, Rolling Stone just published a reader's poll ranking the top 10 metal bands of all time. Some of the bands who made the list include Megadeth, Slayer, and Dream Theater. And surprise, surprise, Metallica came in first. So, Geoff, are these the best metal bands of all time?
I mean, I love Metallica, but number one seems crazy. I feel like with the Lou Reed record that just came out, they probably should have knocked them down to at least 8, 9.
Right.
Maybe completely off the list. For me, I feel like the list should have Black Sabbath number one. Best metal band. You shouldn't even have to vote on that. They just give that to you. It's like, we're going to fill in 2 and 9. Let's just go with Black Sabbath.
That's number one. All right, Sherrod, what do you think?
First of all, Geoff brought a lot of anger onto this panel.
Let me tell you another thing about
I think you can't go wrong, though, with Metallica on the list, right? It's kind of like putting a hip-hop list together of the greatest bands and not having Run DMC on there somewhere.
Right.
You got to do it.
So
right?
Metallica is the Run DMC of rock.
I would, yeah.
Awesome. Sebastian, are there any obvious omissions from this list?
Is Kiss on the list?
Kiss on my list. Isn't that a Hall & Oates song? I'm pretty sure it's a Hall & Oates song, but I don't know if it's on the list. Is Kiss on the list? No, they're not.
That's crazy.
So we got a top 10 heavy metal bands of all time, and Kiss is not on the list.
No.
Well, that's a up list.
Okay.
And Dream Theater is on the list?
Now, why do you think that is? Is it because Kiss is more like glammy? Do they consider Kiss a glam rock band?
I just think
because
when
of the makeup
you think of metal, you think of fire and blood and leather and studs. Dream Theater have none of these things.
Yeah, I think it's insane that that Kiss is not on there. That Motorhead did not make it on there.
Motorhead?
Right. Apparently Dream Theater got their Twitter fans to really.
Dream Theater is an amazingly talented band, but Dream Theater is not a heavy metal band.
They're like math rock, right?
Yeah, they're like math metal.
Well, see, I don't know heavy metal that well, so I would be scrounging to pick the top 5 heavy metal bands, but one that I think should definitely be on there is Dragon Force.
Those guys are too happy.
Oh, they're too happy.
Yeah.
Like,
his fingers are made out of candy.
It's like the Archies playing metal.
That sounds good to me. I'd be into that.
Like their guitars are too high up. Like
Right.
they got to be slung down at your knees with your arms straight.
Right.
Like, you guys sling your stuff low.
Yeah, we did. We used to sling it low. It's creeped up over the years.
Really?
I think Blink-182 might be heavier than Dragon Force.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that accolade.
Blink-182,
Thank you.
number 4 on the list.
Yeah.
We'll throw them on there.
Yeah.
If there's one thing we're described as, it's metal.
Yes, without a doubt.
What's disturbing to me is that Led Zeppelin made the list, and this debate has been going on for years. Sherrod, is Led Zeppelin actually a metal band?
But I don't know if they're exactly a metal band, but it's Zeppelin. You know,
Yeah.
if they're on a list for the top 100 hip-hop songs, I wouldn't be too mad about it. It's Zeppelin.
Right. What do you think about that?
I think Led Zeppelin played some heavy metal, but Led Zeppelin was not a heavy metal band.
Right.
Like the riff for Whole Lotta Love is beyond metal to the nth degree of the exponential of infinity. But that's an exciting, heavy riff. And then, Black Dog, that's a great title for a song.
Black Anything is a great title.
Something that I want to point out here, Skid Row was the first heavy metal band to debut at number 1 on the Billboard charts.
Yes, we were.
And you also broke ground with a little thing that we like to call the power ballad.
Hello.
So when you started playing power ballads, how did your fans react to that?
Well, you see, you got to remember, every bad boy does have a soft side.
Thank
Right.
You know. And, I'm not against crooning.
I thought it was genius. It was
I like
genius.
Journey. Take me out in the back and shoot me.
I'd like to wish a happy 20th anniversary to Awesome Music Everywhere. Several legendary albums turned 20 this year. There's a long list that includes Pearl Jam's 10, Tupac's Tupacalypse, and Nirvana's Nevermind. Geoff, why was 1991 so f***ing awesome?
I think a big reason is, people were, my age were getting into music at that point. Like, before that year, I did not listen to music. I listened to Weird Al Yankovic.
Nerd.
Yep.
Nerd.
Nothing
Nerd.
but.
You guys go to the same hairdresser.
Exactly. And I think when '91 happened, like, you know, Nirvana's Nevermind came out, and, you know, all these other records came out that were the soundtrack to my self-hate, and I was like, oh, great. Like, I hate myself too. Like, let's do this.
Right. A lot of people say that the 90s were the golden age of hip-hop. Do you feel the same way?
I think so. My favorite albums from the '91 was Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, which just revolutionized, I thought, not just hip-hop, but all music.
Sebastian, in 1991, Skid Row released Slave to the Grind. What was that year like for you?
Well, we were the first albums to debut at #1 on the Billboard chart since Michael Jackson's Bad.
Wow.
And that was
Good
like
company.
11 years. But that was because we were the first band to put out a record after SoundScan was implemented.
Oh, okay.
And the week that they implemented that, we put out our album and we debuted at #1. And then we were #1 for at least 30 seconds. Then NWA came in the next week at #1. Then Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion, and Metallica Black Album.
That's great company to be in.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but if you consider Blink-182 a punk rock band, we were the first punk rock band to ever go #1 on Billboard charts.
Yeah.
Boom, people! Metal, punk. And lastly, let's say you're having a house party, and then all of a sudden, whoop, there it is, comes on the stereo. Or maybe it's sexy time, and right as you're about to make your move, all the small things starts playing. These songs are what we like to call shuffle skippers. Now I want to know about yours. Sherrod, what do you got?
First of all, the shuffle is a player hater.
Yeah.
You never know what songs are busting out. Just a couple weeks ago, a few years, I was with this girl, and we're getting hot and romantic. You know what I'm talking about, crowd. And all of a sudden, Old Dirty Bastards, Oh Baby, I Like It Raw came on. And then I just waited to see how she played it, because I could have taken it either way.
Right. For me, it's like something like Livin' La Vida Loca comes on. That song is a musical block if there ever were one.
It depends on which dude you're with.
Hey, true.
Sadly for me, it's 95% of my entire iPod.
Really?
It's like nothing but death metal and progressive rock and comedy records. So it's just like, oh, I guess we won't have sex tonight.
Sebastian, what do you do if one of your songs comes on?
He gets laid to everything.
Depends on which album it's off. But the other night, we were on a 10-hour bus ride, cranking up some Sabbath, some Ted Nugent, some Ramones, some Sex Pistols, some Van Halen. And then the Osmonds, One Bad Apple comes on.
Killer song. Killer song.
Nice one.
But you know, Donny Osmond sings so high in that chorus. It's kind of like Judas Priest.
He's like
Right.
Mumford.
It's like, yeah. And
He's exactly like him.
So did everyone on the bus kind of like look at each other for a second,
Well,
like,
I
are we going to
looked
switch it, or is this cool? Everyone cool? All right, we'll just leave it.
I looked around, you know, coming from Sabbath into the Osmonds, and I go, these guys, you know, want to throw something at me? But everyone's kind of like, one bad apple, don't spoil the whole bunch. Girl!
All right, that does it for our panel. Thank you guys so much for your insight.